Okay, good afternoon, dear students. How are you all doing? I hope you are doing fine, everyone. Okay, so friends, we were in the chapter number 9, which was indeed divided into 5 units. If you remember, I will revise with you the 5 units. What we had in the 5 units was theories related to international trade. Okay, then there is the concept of trade policy. Then there is a concept of trade negotiations. Then there is a concept of trade negotiations. Then you have capital movement related chapter. Okay. Then you have a chapter which is related to capital movements. Then you have a chapter related to exchange rates. So, dear students, these were the 5 topics that we had to cover, and we have already covered this one. Theories done. So, sir, टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस ट्रेड पॉलिसी. इसका मतलब सर आज अपने क्या करने वाले हैं? डियर स्टूडेंट्स, अपने आज ट्रेड पॉलिसीज वाला चैप्टर डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. अपने अभी ट्रेड पॉलिसी वाली चैप्टर डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट इज विद द टॉपिक ट्रेड पॉलिसी. होपफुली एवरीवन इट्स क्रिस्टल क्लियर. कम ऑन, शैल वी बिगिन? शैल वी? ओके, so let's put the heading instruments of trade policy. Let's put the heading instruments of trade policy. Let's put the heading instrument of trade policy. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic, sir. So, sir, let's start then. Let's start then. Instrument of trade policy is what we are going to start right away. But then there are concepts which you will want to know the meaning of. Sir, what will we study here? First, I'll speak in English and then in Hindi, I'll translate it. In instruments of trade policy, dear students, we are going to talk about how export duties, import duties are imposed. We are going to study about quota. We are going to study about tariff. We are going to talk about other conditional measures like ad valorem duty, like special duty, mixed duty, bounded duty. All these concepts we are going to explore in today's class. Basically, in export and import, whatever restrictions or measures are taken, whatever restrictions और measures are taken by different countries, we are going to study that. सर हिंदी में बताएं, सरल भाषा में अगर मैं कहूं दोस्तों, तो हम लोग इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स ऑफ ट्रेड पॉलिसी में ये समझने वाले हैं कि जब दो कंट्रीज के बीच में, यानी कि दो देशों के बीच में आयात निर्यात यानी कि इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट होता है, तो उसके दरमियान क्या टैक्सेस दूसरे सामान सामने वाली कंट्री मेरी कंट्री में बेच पाए या ज्यादा बेच पाए, उसके लिए क्या हेल्प करती है. इन सारी चीजों के बारे में हम लोग इस चैप्टर में पढ़ने वाले हैं. इसीलिए नाम है इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स ऑफ ट्रेड पॉलिसी, जो ट्रेड को परमिट करे. यहां पे हम लोग कौन सी ट्रेड के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? इंटरनेशनल या फॉरेन ट्रेड के बारे में हम लोग चर्चा कर रहे हैं. उम्मीद है क्लियर है फ्रेंड्स. आई होप क्रिस्टल क्लियर. कम ऑन गाइस. Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Right, sir. Right, sir. Right, sir. Okay. So question is, so friends, question is, what are tariffs? First, we are going to talk about tariff. Okay. What are tariffs? The first topic, what are tariffs? टैरिफ क्या होता है? हिंदी में बताऊं तो टैरिफ कुछ नहीं, एक टैक्स है, बस खत्म. अगर आप बाहर से सामान मंगाते हो या बाहर सामान बेचते हो, मतलब या तो आप इंपोर्ट कर लो या तो आप एक्सपोर्ट कर लो, दोनों के सिचुएशन में सरकार हमारे ऊपर एक टैक्स लगाती है. उस टैक्स को हम लोग प्यार से टैरिफ बोलते हैं. whenever we import or export, dear students, then the government imposes a tax on us. That tax is exactly called a tariff. Hopefully it's crystal clear, everyone. Exactly. So let's write down the answer, everyone. Let's write down the answer, everyone. Okay. So shall we write the answer? Yes. Tariffs also known as custom duties, are taxes or duties imposed on goods and services which are imported or exported. See, friends, tariffs, also known as custom duties, tariff, also known as custom duties, are taxes or duties imposed on goods and services which are either imported or exported. Basically, it pertains to international trade. Friends, basically, it pertains to international trade. Hopefully, it's crystal clear, everyone. Yes. वेरी गुड वेरी गुड वेरी गुड फ्रेंड्स हैव यू नोटेड इट डाउन क्या आपने इसे नोट कर लिया है या आपने स्क्रीनशॉट ले लिया है Yes. No, Kushi, tariff is not a type of tax. Tariff is called a tax. Tariff is a tax. It's not a type of tax, Kushi. It's a tax. Another name for tax, you could say, tariff is. Okay. So, friends, we will be moving as per ICAI ka material. And see, I have explained you what a tariff is. Same is written in the institute's material as well. Have a look. What a tariff. Also known as custom duties. This is what I have made you write. Also known as custom duties. Is that clear, friends? Okay. So now, sir, I will like to tell you the different types of import tariff. Import matlab kharidte samay. See, most of the governments try not to import tax on exports. You know why? Because exports will bring foreign currency into our market. अरे जब हम लोग माल बाहर बेचेंगे तो सरकारें ज्यादा टैक्स नहीं लगाती है पता है क्यों क्योंकि सरकार खुश होती है जब हम लोग एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं क्यों खुश होती है क्योंकि हमें पेमेंट फॉरेन करेंसी में मिलता है तो हमारी कंट्री के अंदर फॉरेन करेंसी आता है तो इससे हमारी सरकारें खुश होती है तो इस वजह से मैं आपको ये कहने लग रहा हूं इस वजह से मैं आपको ये कहने लग रहा हूं कि जनरली जो टैक्सेस लगती है मेनली द टैक्सेस दैट आर इम्पोज्ड ऑन इंपोर्ट्स not on exports because the government feels very happy when we export as it brings in valuable foreign currency into our market. Making sense, guys? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's talk about this. Huh. Types of import tariffs. 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 Let's talk about this, friends. Types of import tariffs. Now, friends, I will like to classify this for your easiness. I will like to classify this on, basis of 2 or 3 parts. Basically, I would like to classify. Okay. Yes, in institute material, this classification is not there. I am classifying for the purpose of explanation. पढ़ाने के लिए मैं इसको classify कर रहा हूँ. Real life में ये classification material में नहीं है. 3 से 4 चीजों में मैं classify कर रहा हूँ. First is types of import. Acha, import means buying from foreign country. Export means selling to foreign country. So now pay attention. Types of import tariff. Number one is types based on how you calculate it. आप उसे कैलकुलेट कैसे करते हो उसके ऊपर है आप उसे निकालते कैसे हो ये उसके ऊपर है ये हो गया पहला वाला बेस्ड ऑन कैलकुलेशन दूसरा है नियत के अनुसार बेस्ड ऑन इंटेंशन इंटेंशन ऑफ लेवी का मतलब है दोस्तों कि टैक्स लगाने का इंटेंशन क्या है यानी कि नियत क्या है क्यों लगा रहे हैं टैरिफ ठीक है ना यस सर राइट थर्ड इज एज अ रिस्पॉन्स बेस्ड ऑन रिस्पॉन्स based on response to trade practices. You know, देखो दोस्तों, कभी कभी फॉरेन कंट्रीज, विदेशी कंट्रीज कुछ ऐसी प्रैक्टिसेस करने लगती है जो कि हमारी कंट्री के लिए अच्छा नहीं है। तब हम लोग एक तरीके का टैक्स लगाते हैं, उसको बोलते हैं रिस्पॉन्स टू ट्रेड प्रैक्टिसेस। करेंगे, सबके बारे में बात करेंगे, उस पर चिंता ना करें। Lastly, my dear students, it is based on arrangements and agreements. So friends, this is just the way to understand it, okay? Based on arrangements and agreements. First of all, write it down. Then we will talk about each one of them in detail. Then we will talk about each one of them in detail. Okay? Shoot. Excuse me. Very good. Friends, if you have noted it down, please write down done in the chat so that I can proceed. Okay. Based on arrangements and agreements. Okay. So friends, let's go ahead and let's start discussing. Okay. So types of import tariff based on calculation, then intention of levy, response to trade practices, and arrangements and agreements. Okay. Let's go. Excuse me. So number one is based on calculation we are going to discuss. Yes, in the ICAI module, there is no such difference given. It is just for your easiness. I am trying to write it like this. Okay. Okay. Based on calculation. Number one. अच्छा, what are we discussing? Import duty. So don't ask me कि सर ये import पे लगता है कि export पे. I have given the answer in one blanket term, import. Import पे लगेगा, कहानी खत्म. मतलब अब whatever discussion is going to take place from now, whatever I am going to say for the next few hours or minutes maybe, just remember that we are going to talk about import strictly, strictly, strictly. Okay. So based on calculation, number one is special tariff. Special tariff. Special tariff. Here it is fixed amount of tax per unit. Bus. Simple. Sir, we did not understand. Sir, fixed amount of tax per unit matlab? Sir, we did not really understand. Okay, let me help you out. Let me help you out. Friends, it is fixed amount of tax per unit. So friends, what is happening here is, here there is fixed amount of tax per unit. Here there is fixed amount of tax per unit. So what happens here? Please pay attention. Okay. What happens here? Please pay attention. Since there is a fixed amount of tax per unit, everybody, since there is a fixed amount of tax per unit, since there is a fixed amount of tax per unit. So friends, what happens here is, please pay attention. We are importing bicycle. Example, bicycle is imported. Suppose, so government tells the importer that importer, I am going to take from you rupees 4,000 per bicycle as a tax. So now it really does not matter whether the value of the bicycle is 40,000 or 80,000. The amount has become fixed. Yes, the percentage changes because 4,000 by 40,000 into 100 means 10% tax. To the contrary, 4,000 by 80,000 into 100 means 5%. So that is the change. That has definitely changed. Understood everybody? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Yes or no, everyone? This is special tariff. Hopefully, it's clear. It's better called not special, rather it's called specific. The right word should be specific, not special. My bad. हिंदी में बताएं तो स्पेसिफिक टैरिफ का मतलब होता है जब एक पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट पे एक फिक्स्ड अमाउंट ऑफ टैक्स सरकार लगा दे, चाहे वो 5,000 हो, 4,000 हो, 1,000 हो, 500 रुपए हो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। यहाँ पे परसेंटेज टर्म्स में टैक्स नहीं लगाया गया, बल्कि एक वैल्यू टर्म में टैक्स लगा दिया गया। बताइए सब कोई, चमका कि नहीं चमका? इज दैट क्लियर और नॉट क्लियर एवरीवन? चमका नहीं चमका, बताइए। स्पेसिफिक टैरिफ। नेक्स्ट इज एड वैलोरम टैरिफ। एड वैलोरम टैरिफ। एड वैलोरम टैरिफ। Okay. So friends, what is ad valorem tariff? It is that tariff which is fixed as a percentage. Bus, bus, fixed as a percentage. So what does it mean really, sir? So for example, on bicycle, tax is 10%. Suppose, just an example. So if I am importing a bicycle of 40,000, then I'll have to pay to the government. Then I'll have to pay to the government 10% of 40,000, which is going to be 4,000. On the other hand, if I'm importing a bicycle, let's say worth 80,000, then I'll be giving the government 10% of 80,000. That's going to be rupee 8,000. Exactly my point, friends. Exactly my point, friends. So basically, in specific tariff, what happens is that the rate of tariff is not fixed, rather the amount of tariff is fixed. While in ad valorem, the rate of tariff is fixed as a percentage. Hopefully it's crystal clear. तो दोस्तों, एड वैलोरम टैरिफ का मतलब होता है वो टैरिफ जहां पे एक प्रतिशत यानी कि परसेंटेज के रूप में टैक्स को एक्सप्रेस किया जाए। बात खत्म हो गया। फ्रेंड्स, इज दैट क्लियर? यस और नो? कम ऑन एवरीवन। ऑल राइट, ग्रेट। Let's move on to the third point, everyone. Now we are discussing is mixed tariff. What we are discussing next is mixed tariff. Mixed tariff. Mixed tariff. Friends, it is basically, it can be specific tariff or it can be ad valorem tariff. That is it. Whichever is higher. Here I will write later. First of all, I'll explain with an example. Suppose government says that tax will be, tax means tariff will be 20% of value or rupees 5,000, whichever is higher. This is mixed tariff, friends. This is mixed tariff, friends, where Either this is being used, that is specific tariff, or ad valorem tariff is being used, whichever is higher. Understood, everybody? Yes, sir. That's mixed tariff. Mixed tariff. Mixed tariff. Here it is. Mixed tariff. So let's discuss it, everybody. Either we express it, either expressed as a percentage or on basis of value, or on basis of value. That is what is mixed tariff. Depending on what benefits the nation, what is good for the nation, what benefits nation, depending on what benefits nation. Friends, is the third part crystal clear? Yes or no? Everybody, come on. Hmm. So specific tariff, everybody, is fixed as a percentage. Ad valorem tariff is fixed as a specific tariff is fixed as an amount. Ad valorem is fixed as a percentage, and mixed tariff you have an option whether you want to take it in the percentage form or you want to take it in the value form. It is an option entirely. Whatever benefits the nation more. Huh. So fixed as a percentage, example on bicycle 10%, or either expressed as a percentage or on basis of value, depending on what benefits the nation. Is that clear, everyone? Next is, so here whichever is higher is taken. Whichever is higher is taken, okay? Right. फ्रेंड्स यहां तक क्लियर है बात? यस और नो बताइएगा. Then what is the compound tariff? Sir, it is a mixture of both specific and ad valorem. Both specific and ad valorem. Example, government fixes tax on cheese at rupees 100 per kg. So per kg you will have to pay 100 rupees. That is to fixed. And also, and 5% of value. So whatever will be the value of cheese of that 5%. So here you see both are present. So the main difference is in mixed, either of the two are present. That is either specific or ad valorem in mixed tariff. But in compound tariff, the language is and, means both are imposed, not one but both. सर हिंदी में बताइए. दोस्तों मैंने ये कहा कि मिक्स टैरिफ के अंदर आप स्पेसिफिक वैल्यू लगाते हो या एड वैलोरम वैल्यू लगाते हो, जो भी है उसमें क्या होता है बेसिकली कि आप दोनों में से एक चुनते हो जो भी नेशन का ज्यादा फायदा करेगा. बट अगर आप कंपाउंड टैरिफ इंपोज करते हो तो उसमें दोनों चीजें लागू होती है, यानी कि उसमें फिक्स्ड रेट ऑफ टैक्स भी लागू होता है और परसेंटेज भी लागू होता है. उम्मीद है बात समझ में आया होगा. उसे कंपाउंड टैरिफ कहते हैं. Our friend Mohammed Farhan Sheikh is telling, sir, why higher? In mixed tariff, he is telling why higher? Because dear, it will benefit the nation more. कंट्री का, नेशन का, इंपोर्टिंग नेशन का उससे ज्यादा फायदा है अगर ज्यादा टैक्स ले तो, इसलिए बात खत्म। क्लियर है? यस सर, क्लियर है। इज दैट क्लियर फ्रेंड्स? यस सर, दैट इज क्लियर। फिफ्थ वन, फ्रेंड्स, फिफ्थ वन इज टेक्निकल टैरिफ और अदर टैरिफ। टेक्निकल टेक्निकल टैरिफ, अदर टैरिफ। दैट इज इंटरेस्टिंग। सर कैन यू गिव अस एन एग्जांपल फर्स्ट? पहले मैं एग्जांपल समझाऊंगा, फिर अपने आगे बढ़ेंगे, राइट? ओके। टेक्निकल टैरिफ और अदर टैरिफ, ओके। Here what happens is, friends, technical tariff or other tariff में what happens, friends, is basically, suppose uh, let's say we are importing battery. Now what does battery contain? Many parts. Suppose battery contains a solar panel. Suppose battery contains a converter. So friends, here what will happen is government will government will import tax not on the full item, but on the content, that on solar panel 5%, on converter let's say 10%, or rupees 5,000. Understood? So here taxes are imposed on the inputs or the raw materials or the contents used to make the final product, rather than being imposed on the final product. And on each import item, each input item, the tax may be same or the tax may be different. Important thing to realize is that the tax is being imposed on the contents of the item rather than the finished item. Hopefully this is clear. सर हिंदी में अगर बात समझाऊं तो टेक्निकल टैरिफ में जो टैक्स लगता है वो प्रोडक्ट के कंटेंट्स पर लगता है, ना कि फिनिश प्रोडक्ट पर। तो यदि फिनिश प्रोडक्ट ए को बनाने के लिए मुझे रॉ मटेरियल्स एक्स वाई और जेड का दरकार पड़ा, तो जो टैक्स रेट बताया जाएगा मुझे, वो एक्स वाई और जेड के ऊपर बताया जाएगा, न कि ए के ऊपर बताया जाएगा। उम्मीद है दोस्तों ये बात आप लोगों के पल्ले पड़ गई, आप लोगों के समझ में आ गई। कम ऑन फ्रेंड्स, इज दैट क्लियर फ्रेंड्स? कम ऑन फ्रेंड्स, इज दैट क्लियर? That is technical tariff or other tariff. Is that clear? Yes. Okay. So now let's write it down. अब इसके बारे में लिखते हैं। आइए इसकी कुंडली बनाते हैं हम लोग। कुंडली मतलब notes. So let's write about it, friends. Let's write about it, friends. So basically, this is calculated on basis of specific contents of the imported goods. Based on specific contents of the imported goods. Yes. Example, suppose we talk about the e-vehicle, electric vehicle. Okay. So on EV, let's say there is a lithium battery. Suppose there is a lithium battery. Suppose there is some automation system. So on each one of them, separately tax rates will be decided. So इनपुट्स यहाँ पे बात अंदर घुस के होता है, ये कुल मिला के डिस्कशन चल रहा है. उम्मीद है क्लियर होगा दोस्तों, चमका होगा पूरा बात, हाँ या ना? इज दैट क्लियर एवरीवन? चमका कि नहीं? यस सर, इट्स क्रिस्टल क्लियर. So after technical tariff, we will move on to the next one. After technical tariff, friends, we will move on to the next one. That is called tariff rate quotas. Quotas. Sir, सबसे पहले what is a quota? What is a quota? Sir, what is a quota? Dear students, quota means a quantity restriction. Dear students, quota means a quantity restriction. Quota means quantity restriction. Friends, 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 quota means quantity restriction. Yes, sir. Quota is quantity restriction. First of all, try and understand. Then I will explain tariff rate quotas, what it is. Okay. Friends, quota is a quantity restriction. So suppose your country government tells you that from now on, suppose your country government tells you that from now on, the tax will be not imposed, but the quantity restricted to be or the quantity allowed to be imported is maximum up to 10 units. So you can purchase 10 units of refrigerator from, let's say, America each year. That is a quantity restriction. That is a quota. Now, what is tariff rate quota? Friends, tariff rate quota means that up to a certain limit, government fixes a percentage. So suppose government says that, okay, anybody who will import till 10 units, we are going to charge them 5% on the value. And if you import more than 10 units, then on each item, we are going to charge you 20%. That is what is tariff rate quota. That is up to a specified limit, lower rate of tax is charged. Up to a specified quantity of imports, lower tax rate is charged. And beyond that quantity, the tax rate is changed. सर फिर से बताइए आप बात को सिंपल में. कुल मिला के बात ऐसा है कि टैरिफ रेट कोटास का अर्थ होता है, कोटा का मतलब होता है क्वांटिटी रेस्ट्रिक्शन, जिसके दरमियान अगर आपने कह दिया कि भाई 10 यूनिट तक मैक्सिमम इंपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, आपने मतलब सरकार ने, तो आप 10 से ज्यादा इंपोर्ट नहीं कर सकिएगा. इसमें टैरिफ रेट कोटा का क्या काम है सर? इसमें क्या होता है टैरिफ रेट कोटा में? गवर्नमेंट मान लो बोलता है कि 5 यूनिट तक कोई टैक्स नहीं लगाएंगे, 5 से 10 यूनिट पर 10% लगाएंगे, 10 से 20 यूनिट पर 20% टैक्स लगाएंगे. उसे हम लोग टैरिफ रेट कोटा कहते हैं, जहां क्वांटिटी की रेस्ट्रिक्शन भी है पर टैरिफ भी इंपोज हो रहा है. उम्मीद है क्लियर रहा होगा दोस्तों. इज दैट क्लियर फ्रेंड्स? So it combines tariff and quota. Friends, it combines tariff and quota. Import under specified portions or up to specific units of imports are charged at lower rate and above that tax rate is increased and above that tax rate is increased. That is, friends, tariff rate quotas. That is, friends, tariff rate quotas. Yes, sir, it's crystal clear. Yes, sir, tariff rate quota is crystal clear. Hopefully, it's crystal clear, friends. So now, friends, if you compile it with the material, we have done everything as per material so far. Specific tariff, ad valorem, mixed, technical, tariff rate, quota. Done. Yes or no? Yes, sir. If it's clear, then shall we talk about the next category? First was on the basis of calculation. Now on the basis of intention of levy. The basis of intention of levy. Levy. Levy means chargeability. Levy means chargeability. Levy means chargeability. Okay. Those who want to take a screenshot, here it is. So tariff rate quota combines tariff and quota. Quota is a quantity restriction. Imports under specified portions or up to specific units of imports are charged at lower rate, and above that tax rate is increased. Okay. Imports under specified portions or up to specific units or up to specific units are charged at lower rate, and above that tax rate is increased. Now we will talk about basis of intention of levy. Anybody wanting to take a screenshot, here it is. You can. Okay. On the basis of intention of levy. Okay. Okay. So friends, tariff rate quota I have read for you all. Okay. Now let's talk about the seventh point. Okay. Now actually basis of intention of levy. Basis based on intention of levy. 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 Okay. Based on intention of levy. Let's talk about it, friends. Let's talk about it, friends. Basis of intention. Number one is variable. I am reading it for you all. Okay. variable. Variable tariff. Yes. Now, what is variable tariff? I'll give you an example. Suppose imported goods price Imported goods price in rupee terms. In rupee terms, imported goods price is rupees 10. Okay. But domestically, but domestically, domestically means इन अवर कंट्री. डोमेस्टिकली मीन्स हमारी कंट्री में अगर कोई वही कमोडिटी को परचेस करता है तो मान लीजिए उसका लगता है, डोमेस्टिकली अगर परचेस करता है तो मान लीजिए उसका लगता है 15 रुपया. ठीक है. इफ somebody buys a product from outside, suppose the import costs rupees 10 and domestically it costs rupees 15. So what the government says is, this way it will be a very drastic situation for domestic producers. As domestic producers, nobody will be willing to buy from them. As far as domestic producers are concerned, nobody will be willing to buy from them. Yes or no, dear students? Sir, yes sir, we agree. Yes sir, we agree. And therefore, friends, what happens is, or what is done is, Indian government, for example, will do what? Indian government will impose the balance 5 rupees. बाकी के 5 रुपए इंडियन गवर्नमेंट लगा देगी इंपोर्टेड गुड्स पर टैक्स. इससे क्या होगा? इंपोर्टेड गुड्स का कॉस्ट भी वही बन गया जो डोमेस्टिकली प्रोड्यूस्ड गुड्स का है. दोनों बराबर बराबर हो गए. दोनों बराबर बराबर हो गए. ये यहां पर लॉजिक चलता है वेरिएबल टैरिफ में. फ्रेंड्स, इज दैट क्लियर? यस और नो? कम ऑन स्टूडेंट्स. ओके, ग्रेट. इज दैट क्लियर? हिंदी में बताइए सर. इंपोर्टेड गुड्स का दाम 10 रुपया है, मतलब बाहर से खरीदने का. और डोमेस्टिकली मतलब वही सामान मैं अगर अपने कंट्री में खरीदूं तो 15 रुपया लगेगा. तो वेरिएबल टैरिफ में सरकार क्या करती है? हमारे डोमेस्टिक प्रोड्यूसर्स को बचाने के लिए सरकार इंपोर्टेड गुड्स पे उतना टैक्स लगा देती है जिससे इंपोर्टेड गुड्स का कॉस्ट लगभग वही हो जाए जो डोमेस्टिकली प्रोड्यूस गुड्स का कॉस्ट है. इसीलिए इसका नाम वेरिएबल टैरिफ है. बदलते रहता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन क्या इंपोर्टेड गुड्स का दाम है और क्या डोमेस्टिक गुड्स का दाम है. ऐसा समझ लो कि वेरिएबल टैरिफ एक ब्रिज की तरह है जो इंपोर्टेड गुड्स को, इंपोर्टेड गुड्स के प्राइस को डोमेस्टिक गुड्स के प्राइस तक पहुंचाता है. समझ में आ गया? तो ये देखिए, ये एक ब्रिज रहा है ना. यहाँ पे इंपोर्टेड गुड्स का प्राइस है जो कि कुछ कम है और यहाँ पे डोमेस्टिक गुड्स का प्राइस है जो कि कुछ ज्यादा है. इस ये ब्रिज जो है दोनों को कनेक्ट कर देगा. इस ब्रिज का नाम है स्टूडेंट्स वेरिएबल टैरिफ. Hopefully it's crystal clear, everybody. Hopefully it's crystal clear, everybody. Yes, sir. It's crystal clear to us. Very good. Congratulations. So let's write it down for you. Variable tariff. Let's write it down for you. Variable tariff. A duty fixed to bring the price of an imported commodity up to domestic domestic support price. That is what variable tariff is, friends. That is what variable tariff is, friends. Yes, basically to stop exploitation of domestic producers. Correct. Correct, Karthik. That is variable tariff. Right? Okay, great. Escalated tariff. Escalated tariff. A very smart thing. A very smart thing. Yes or no? Sir, what is it? Sir, what is it? Escalated tariff. First, I'll explain it in English and then in Hindi. Okay? See, iron ore. Friends, iron ore is a material that is used to make steel. Okay? Iron ore is a material that is used to make steel. Okay? Iron ore is a material that is used to make steel. Okay? Great. Now, what do I say? What the government does here is that on importing iron ore, that is raw material, government is fixing the tariff, import duty of 4%. But, but if you want to import steel, government imposes a tax of 12%. So it is a situation where the tax on import tax on raw material is less than import tax on finished goods. This government does so that manufacturing processes can continue to take place in the importing country. Or else, if the imported goods are cheaper or the final imported goods are cheaper, then why would everybody buy from anybody buy from the domestic producer? Nobody would want to buy from the domestic manufacturer or producer. Hence, what is done is, if you want to buy a ready-made product from outside, you will have to pay higher amount of tax. But if you want to import raw material, see, government will be very happy, and that's why government is imposing less tax. Because if you import raw material from outside, that is basically meaning that you are going to convert it into finished goods in our country only, and government will be very happy if you do that. Hence the discussion. Is that clear, everyone? सर हिंदी में बताएं आप. सर अब आप हिंदी में बताएं. सर अब आप हिंदी में बताएं. हिंदी में इसका अर्थ होता है कि जो रॉ मटेरियल्स है ना, उस पर सरकारें जो है वो कम रेट ऑफ टैक्स लगाती है, जबकि फिनिश गुड्स पर सरकारें ज्यादा टैक्स लगाती है. इससे होता क्या है कि जो गुड्स बनाना पड़ता है इंसान को, वो इंपोर्टिंग कंट्री में ही बनाना पड़ता है. ऐसा इसलिए करती है जिससे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्रीज को या प्रोड्यूसिंग इंडस्ट्रीज को सरकार बचा सके, सेव कर सके. उम्मीद है क्लियर है. होपफुली इट्स क्रिस्टल क्लियर एवरीवन. वेरी गुड. Escalated tariff. Let's go. Escalated tariff. Let's go. System wherein tariff rates on imports of tariff rates on import of manufactured goods are higher than tariff rate on intermediate inputs and raw materials. Inputs and raw materials. Inputs and raw materials. So what is it written? I will explain again. It is a system wherein tariff rates on imports of manufactured goods are higher than tariff rate on intermediate inputs and raw materials. For example, a 4% tax on iron ore, while a 12% tax on steel, on steel products or steel pipes. Understood, everybody? That is called escalated tariff. That is called escalated tariff. Hopefully, sir, it's crystal clear to all of you. Shall we proceed, friends, to the third one, if you may? Okay. We are discussing on the basis of intention of levy. नियत के अनुसार. Is that clear, friends? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear. Now we talk about the third one, which is called prohibitive tariff. Which is called prohibitive tariff. Prohibitive tariff. What is prohibitive tariff? A situation where tax is so high, इतना जोरदार टैक्स लगाते हैं इंपोर्ट पर, जिससे इंपोर्ट्स बहुत महंगा हो जाए, जिससे कोई इंपोर्ट करने का सपना ही नहीं देखे, जिसे कोई इंपोर्ट करने का सपना ही नहीं देखे. Tariff which is set so high that no imports will enter. Tariff that is set so high that is no imports will enter. That is no imports will enter. That is no imports will enter. That is prohibitive tariff. That is prohibitive tariff. Hopefully it's crystal clear, everybody. Okay. Yes, just like on Tesla, a huge tax is imposed. So that Tesla cannot enter the market only. Intention of levy. Next is, okay, first of all, let's tick this in the institute material as well. As you can see, here it is. Escalated tariff done. Prohibitive tariff done. Okay. What else we had done? Variable tariff done. Understood? So friends, I have divided it conceptually so that we will be able to cover all by the time this discussion is ending. Hopefully it's crystal clear, everyone. Okay, great. Great. So there it is, friends, prohibitive tariff for you all. Okay. Now, based on response to trade distortions. Based on response to trade distortions. Based on response to trade distortions. So now what happens, sir? There are three major taxes that we talk about here. Number one is anti-dumping duty. Anti-dumping duty. Sir, what happens here is China does that. China does that. What is dumping? First of all, try to understand what is dumping. What is dumping? What will China do? China has a lot of money. चाइना के पास बहुत पैसा है. चाइना क्या करेगा? लॉस में, नुकसान में. सोचिए, चाइना नुकसान में इंडिया में सामान बेचेगा. चाइना नुकसान में इंडिया में सामान बेचेगा. चाइना will at a loss sell products to India. China will at a loss sell products to India. Sir, why? This is done so that no domestic Indian producer can survive and China can create a monopoly in Indian market. That is the logic of dumping. So what is anti-dumping duty? It basically makes the product more expensive. Basically tries to kill the impact of dumping. For example, समझिएगा, चाइना ने एक प्रोडक्ट को 10 रुपए में बनाया और वो इंडिया में बेच रहा है 6 रुपए में. ठीक है, तो ये क्यों बेच रहा है? जिससे इंडियन प्रोड्यूसर्स खत्म हो जाए, क्योंकि चाइना को पता है चाइना के पास बहुत पैसे हैं, बट इंडियन प्रोड्यूसर्स खत्म हो जाए. तो गवर्नमेंट क्या करता है इस सिचुएशन में? एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी लगा देता है. 10 रुपया, 20 रुपया, कुछ भी. जिससे वो जो सामान है, अगर गवर्नमेंट ये 6 रुपए का बेच रहे थे, गवर्नमेंट 5-6 रुपया का एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी लगा दिया, तो अब वो प्रोडक्ट 12 का हो गया, महंगा हो गया, तो अब वो बाकी प्रोडक्ट्स की तरह हो गया। दैट इज कॉल्ड एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी। फ्रेंड्स, इज दैट क्रिस्टल क्लियर? यस और नो? ओके, लेट्स गो। डंपिंग occurs when manufacturers sell goods in foreign country below the sales prices in their domestic market or below their full average cost. They sell below their full average cost of the product. So to save domestic producers, you will understand anti-dumping duties imposed. Government imposes anti-dumping duty. Government imposes anti-dumping duty. Friends, is that crystal clear, everybody? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Now, number two is countervailing duty. Countervailing duties. Sir, what is countervailing duty? CVD. Sir, what is countervailing duty? CVD. Friends, try and understand. Okay. So anti-dumping duty is basically when a nation is selling products below their cost price in order to harm the producers of the importing nation. So what the government in the importing nation does is to basically kill the impact of dumping, they impose an anti-dumping duty. That's it, full stop. Moving on to countervailing duties, if you may. See, sometimes what happens is if you are exporting, then suppose you are in an exporting country, okay? Suppose we'll talk about two countries. There are two peoples, okay? This is me, okay? This is me from India. And on the other side, there is, suppose there is somebody called Mr. Ross from USA. Mr. Ross, Mr. Joey, you can put any name, whatever your favorite is. Now, what I tell you is, now this Mr. Joey basically is a producer, is an exporter, is an exporter. Now, USA is helping Mr. Joey. USA is helping Mr. Joey. Why? Because Mr. Joey is an exporter. So what USA government is doing is USA government is giving subsidy to Mr. Joey, basically financially helping Mr. Joey. This way, Mr. Joey sells the product to me in India. I am the importer at a very low cost, at a very low cost. Then what Indian government, that is IDIG, Indian government does is that it interferes. It comes into the game and tells we will not let that happen. We will impose a tax so high that the impact of this subsidy will be eliminated. That is countervailing duty. उम्मीद है क्लियर होगा. यहां क्या होता है, एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री की गवर्नमेंट अपने यहां के लोगों का मदद करती है. एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री की गवर्नमेंट अपने यहाँ के लोगों का मदद करती है. अब क्योंकि वो अपने यहाँ के लोगों का मदद करती है तो वो एक्सपोर्ट पर सब्सिडीज देती है. इसकी वजह से प्रोडक्ट सस्ता हो जाता है फिर से. तो हमारी कंट्री की गवर्नमेंट, इंपोर्टिंग कंट्री की गवर्नमेंट बोलती है कि मित्रों, आज रात 8 बजे से इस प्रोडक्ट पर काउंटर वेलिंग ड्यूटी लगेगी, जिससे एक्सपोर्ट का जो भी बेनिफिट उस मैन्युफैक्चरर को एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री में मिला है वो अब बिल्कुल भी एग्जिस्ट नहीं करेगा. इज दैट क्लियर फ्रेंड्स? होपफुली इट्स क्रिस्टल क्लियर फ्रेंड्स. That's countervailing duties. Can I write it for you guys now? All right. Countervailing duty. So, what is countervailing duty, sir? What is countervailing duty, sir? Tariff that aim to offset artificially, the artificially low prices charged by exporters who enjoy export subsidies and tax concessions. And tax concessions. Yes, sir. Tariffs them aim to offset the artificially low prices charged by exporters who enjoy export subsidies and tax concessions. That is the goal. And finally, safeguard duties. Safeguard duties. Safeguard duties. Safeguard duties. Friends, what happens in safeguard duty is, suppose even after imposing anti-dumping duty and countervailing duty, till the imported commodity is cheaper, then to make it equal to the domestic commodity, safeguard duty is imposed. अगर ये ड्यूटी एंटी डंपिंग लगाने के बाद, सीवीडी लगाने के बाद, तब भी इंपोर्टेड प्रोडक्ट अगर सस्ता पड़ रहा हो तो उस लिए ड्यूटी लगाती है. उम्मीद है अब आपको क्लियर हो गया. Anti-dumping duty is basically a situation when the company or the country sells at a loss. But here in countervailing duty, the company who is selling is getting some benefit from the government and therefore they are able to sell. Here the intention is not wrong, but here intention is clearly wrong of the seller. Yes, sir, it's clear. So now is safeguard duty. Duty levied to avoid import of increased quantities. Bus. Duty levied to avoid import of increased quantities. Hopefully, it's crystal clear, everyone. Friends, now for the next 5 minutes, I'm giving you all a break. For the next 5 minutes, friends, I am giving you all a break. For the next 5 minutes, friends, I'm giving you all a break. Okay, then we will continue. Meantime, anybody can ask me any doubt. Acha, from here we have done this now. So let's tick that here also. Anti-dumping done. This is done. Countervailing done. Very good. Technical tariff is Tambeshwari when basically the tax is imposed on where the tax is imposed on the raw materials, not on the finished product. तो अगर एक product, Tambeshwari, try and understand, if a product is made from multiple raw materials, then imposing the tax directly on the final product that has been manufactured, it is imposed on the raw materials. That's technical tariff. Yes, last line is duty levied to avoid import of increased quantities. And here we have written based on agreements and arrangements. Yes, Priyanka, break is going on right now. Yes, Priyanka, break is going on. I am just taking doubts from students who have any doubts. Anushka, escalated tariff is a situation where the government basically does what basically government imposes more tax on the raw materials than on more tax on the finished goods than on the raw materials. Agar if iron ore is used to manufacture steel, then tax on steel will be higher, but on iron ore will be cheaper, so that India can continue to produce or Indian producers can continue to make steel, or else steel manufacturing would stop in India. Okay. Countervailing duty is imposed when the government of the exporting country helps the exporter by reducing the prices of the commodities. But in the case of anti-dumping duty, they are willing to sell at a loss. And in the case of safeguard duty, it is just as the name suggests, for safeguard, just to ensure that the price of imported products is equal to the domestic product, just to ensure that imported products are not cheaply sold. Now let's talk about based on agreements and arrangements. The time of break is over. Number one is most favored nation tariff. Most favored nation tariff. Most favored nation tariff. What is most favored nation? Who is most favored nation? Answer: every country who is basically member of WTO, World Trade Organization. Everyone who is member of WTO, member of World Trade Organization, member of WTO means member of World Trade Organization, member of World Trade Organization, member of World Trade Organization. Okay, so what happens is that every country who is an MFN country, for example, suppose India is a WTO member, USA is a WTO member. So India and USA will charge a certain tax on each other imports. Suppose 10%, so it will be mutually reciprocated. So again, 10%. This is what I am trying to say. This is most favored nation tariff. It is the highest rate of tax that WTO members can charge from one another. Highest rate of tax. But yes, if some country is not a WTO member, then you can charge them at a higher rate. It is the highest rate that WTO members can charge each other. फिर से समझाता हूं हिंदी में. दोस्तों, मोस्ट फेवर्ड नेशन टैरिफ एक ऐसी टैरिफ है, एक ऐसी टैक्स है, वो हाईएस्ट रेट ऑफ टैक्स है जो एक कंट्री के मेंबर दूसरे कंट्री पर लगा सकते हैं. एक कंट्री के मेंबर दूसरे कंट्री पर लगा सकते हैं. एक कंट्री के मेंबर दूसरे कंट्री पर लगा सकते हैं. डब्ल्यूटीओ मेंबर. अगर कोई डब्ल्यूटीओ का हिस्सा नहीं है, अगर कोई डब्ल्यूटीओ का हिस्सा नहीं है, अगर कोई डब्ल्यूटीओ का हिस्सा नहीं है, उस सिनेरियो में उससे भी ज्यादा रेट चार्ज किया जा सकता है. उस सिनेरियो में उससे भी ज्यादा रेट चार्ज किया जा सकता है. बट अगर डब्ल्यूटीओ का मेंबर है तो कुछ हाईएस्ट रेट डिसाइडेड रहता है कंट्रीज का आपस में, वही वो चार्ज कर सकते हैं. उसे बोलते हैं MFN टैरिफ, मोस्ट फेवर्ड नेशन टैरिफ. ठीक है जी सर, बातचीत तो क्लियर है सर. बातचीत तो क्लियर है सर. द थिंग इज क्लियर सर. यस और नो एवरीवन? वेरी गुड. Friends, now moving on to the second point. Friends, now moving on to the second point. After having done most favored nation tariff, now we are going to talk about preferential tariff. Now we are going to talk about preferential tariff. Shield tariff. Preferential tariff. Preferential tariff. preferential tariff. Suppose India and USA sign a preferential agreement. Apart from MFN, that okay, MFN says that we can charge from each other 10%, but let's do one thing, let's charge 5%. They enter into a preferential agreement that I will give you preference, you will give me preference. That is what is preferential tariff. मैं आपको प्रायोरिटी दूंगा कहीं कहीं, आप मुझे प्रायोरिटी दीजिए कहीं. इसे बोलते हैं प्रेफरेंशियल टैरिफ. क्लियर है नहीं क्लियर है फ्रेंड्स? Yes, sir. It's clear. Yes, sir. It's clear. So preferential, basically it means here a low tariff arrangement is mutually decided between two or more countries. Is mutually decided between two or is mutually decided between two or more countries. Here, a low tariff arrangement is mutually decided between two or more countries. That is preferential tariff. That is preferential tariff. That is preferential tariff. Is that clear, everybody? बेसिकली इधर क्या होता है कि एक एमएफएन को छोड़ के एक अलग से अरेंजमेंट बन जाता है, जहां ये लोग बात कर लेते हैं कि जो भी एमएफएन में लिखा है रहने दो, हम लोग उससे कम रेट एक दूसरे से चार्ज करेंगे. उसे बोलते हैं प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रेड अग्रीमेंट, और टैरिफ को बोलते हैं प्रेफरेंशियल टैरिफ. नेक्स्ट इज बाउंड टैरिफ. बाउंड टैरिफ. बाउंड टैरिफ. So friends, here what happens is a country who is a member of WTO has to agree on the agreement of everyone, has to fix the maximum rate. Suppose India fixes that India is not going to charge from the member countries more than 20%. So now India is bound. India cannot increase tax rate beyond 20% as long as everybody in the WTO agrees or the trading partners in WTO agree. अदर देन दैट इंडिया कैन नॉट इंक्रीज. दैट इज कॉल्ड बाउंड टैरिफ. बाउंड मतलब बाध्य होना. ये अग्रीमेंट में कभी कभी लिखना पड़ता है डब्ल्यूटीओ के मेंबर कंट्री को कि वो मैक्सिमम कितना रेट चार्ज कर सकते हैं. उससे कम रेट चार्ज कर पाएंगे, बट उससे ज्यादा रेट फिर चार्ज नहीं कर सकेंगे जब तक बाकी के ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर्स जिनसे वो इंपोर्ट जो जहां से वो इंपोर्ट कर रहा है वो लोग भी अग्री न करे तब तक. सर बात तो क्लियर है? Sir, the thing is perfectly clear. So bound tariff, a tariff which a WTO member binds itself with a legal commitment not to raise it above a certain level. Not to raise it above a certain level. Is that clear, friends? Yes or no, friends? Yes, sir. Okay. So friends, you see some of the remaining also we have done. Applied bound tariff we have done, preferential tariff we have done, most favored nation tariff we have done. One or two is remaining. Let's discuss them. Like applied tariff. is a duty that is actually charged on imports on MFN basis. A WTO member can have an applied tariff for a product that differs from the bound tariff for that product as long as the applied level is not higher than the bound tariff. So bound tariff is fixing the maximum limit. For example, if India is importing, India can charge maximum 20%. That is bound. But suppose for example, India is charging only 15%. That is applied tariff. हिंदी में बोलूं तो बाउंड टैरिफ मतलब मैक्सिमम इंडिया अपने इंपोर्ट्स पर कितना टैक्स लगा सकता है, वो बाउंड है। और एक्चुअल में इंडिया जो लगाता है उसे अप्लाइड कहते हैं, और वो बाउंड टैरिफ से नीचे ही होना चाहिए। ऑफ कोर्स कॉमन सेंस है। नेक्स्ट, import subsidies also exist in some countries. An import subsidy is simply a payment per unit or as a percentage of value for the importation of goods. That is a negative import tariff. Sir, what is it? Here, instead of taking money, import में government पैसे लेती है. So here in import subsidies, instead of taking taxes on imports, government gives subsidies to the importer. गवर्नमेंट उल्टा इंपोर्टर का मदद करता है। ये एकदम उल्टा केस है, इसे बोलते हैं इंपोर्ट सब्सिडी। ऐसा तब होता है जब इंपोर्टर कुछ बहुत ही एसेंशियल कमोडिटी खरीदता है। व्हेन एन इंपोर्टर बाइज अ वेरी एसेंशियल कमोडिटी, देन गवर्नमेंट इंस्टेड ऑफ लेविंग अ टैक्स ऑन दैट इंपोर्टर, rather instead of importing a tax on that importer, rather allows some benefit to the importer, allocate some benefit to the importer. That is called import subsidy. Friends, now we will study the effects of tariffs. Friends, now we will study what? Now we will study the effects of tariffs. Friends, now we will study what? We will study effects of tariffs. Is that clear so far? Shall we discuss effect of tariffs? Effect on tariff. First of all, friends, tariff creates obstacles. Obstacle means barriers. What does tariff create? Tariff creates, friends, obstacles or barriers to trade as it decreases the volume of imports. Of course, it makes the import goods more expensive, right? And therefore discourages consumers from consuming foreign goods. Of course. Next, tariff encourages consumption of domestically produced import substitute and thus protects domestic industries. It protects domestic industries. If you apply common sense, you will not make a mistake in this topic. Producers of the importing country experience some benefit as their business is protected. The price increase also induces an increase in output of the existing firm and possibly addition of new firms due to entry into the industry to take advantage of new high profits. New businesses start coming in and finally create trade distortions. You remember those anti-dumping duty and those countervailing duty? It is talking about that. And also tariff brings in government revenue in the form of import duties. A very important point rather. It brings in money for the government through which a country is run, through which a country is run, through which a country is run. So it's indeed a very important point. It's indeed a very important point, friends. Sir, it's crystal clear to us. Sir, will you discuss with us NTM as well, non-tariff measures as well? Definitely I will. Non-tariff measures. So friends, anything other than tariff that affects export or import is called non-tariff measure. The name is very, indicative in the sense that it is conveying its meaning. It's exactly conveying that non-tariff measure means anything apart from tariff that is able to affect the import export decision between two countries is the NTM, non-tariff measure. There is something called non-tariff barrier. Barrier means a restriction that stops import or export of something that format. But measure is that affects. That is good or bad is a separate thing. That affects. So let's write question. Question. What is a non-tariff measure? What is a non-tariff measure? Friends, the question is, what is a non-tariff measure? So friends, these are measures. So friends, these are measures other than customs tariff. These are measures other than customs tariff that can have an impact on international trade prices etc. बेसिकली एनीथिंग रिलेटेड टू इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड जो अफेक्ट कर सके वो मेजर्स टैरिफ को छोड़कर इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी को छोड़कर जो कंट्री का इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड को या प्राइसेस को इम्पैक्ट कर सके उसे नॉन टैरिफ मेजर कहते हैं. उदाहरण आप देखिए, एग्जांपल आप देखिए, कोटा. कोटा में क्या कोई आप टैक्स इंपोर्ट कर रहे हो? कोटा में आप खाली क्वांटिटी रेस्ट्रिक्ट कर दे रहे हो. स्टिल इट इज अफेक्टिंग द इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड, यस और नो? If government says that suppose you cannot import more than 5 units from this country, so if you cannot import more than 5 units on this country, government hasn't imposed any tariff yet, still government is able to regulate it. That is what we are saying. That is a non-tariff measure. Understood? Yes or no, everyone? Understood, everybody? Yes or no? Come on, confirm, everyone. That is what a non-tariff measure is. Is that clear, friends? Now friends, now this is classified into some heads. This is what we are going to discuss. Okay. We will discuss that. Okay. See, here it is. Non-tariff measure. So again, there are two things here: technical measures and non-technical measures. So if somebody asks us about non-tariff measure, non-tariff measures, NTM basically. So we will tell them two things. It can be technical as well as non-technical. It can be technical as well as non-technical. Technical measure, and here it is non-technical measure. Non-tariff measures means measures other than tariff that affects international trade. That affects international trade. Okay, these are divided into two parts: technical measure and non-technical measure. Technical measure and non-technical measure. So friends, if you talk about technical measure, there are two main things rather. One is technical barriers to trade. Technical barriers to trade. Technical barriers to trade. And then we have sanitary. And then we have sanitary and phytosanitary measures. 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 Is that clear, everyone? Sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Okay. And if you talk about, you know, non-technical measures, then we have quotas. Then we have government policies. Then we have trade related measures, trim, trade related investment measures, post sales services restrictions, distribution restrictions, restrictions. So now we'll talk about them one by one. We will discuss each one of them. We will discuss each one of them. Just make a chart, then we will discuss. And sir, what are non-tariff measures? Sir, non-tariff measures क्या होता है? वो measures टैक्सेस को छोड़कर वो measures जो कंट्री के इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड को अफेक्ट कर सके, उसे नॉन टैरिफ मेजर्स कहते हैं. आई विल नॉट टेल इट अगेन. ओके, नाउ मूविंग ऑन, we will talk about each one of them one by one. Technical barriers to trade, it is also called TBT, and here you have SPS, sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Okay, and here you have quota, government policy, trims, post sale services, and distribution restrictions. Many. Okay, so let's discuss them one by one. Once you have made a chart of it. Okay, let's go, sir. See, here it is. Technical measures and non-technical measures. So now we will talk about technical measures. Okay, are we ready, everyone? Yes, sir. So I have made you write two main points, and this is what is written in the ICAI Met as well. Sanitary and phytosanitary measures and technical barriers to trade. Okay. Sir, please explain us. What are we studying? We are studying the non-tariff measures. We are studying the non-tariff measures. Okay. So here, sanitary and phytosanitary measures. What happens here is, I'll explain. Basically, it means ban on certain goods. Ban on certain goods. Bus, full stop. Ban on certain goods. For example, poultry, like some hens and chickens you cannot import. Why? Because hens, chickens, etc., they may cause some flu, avian flu. Some meat and processing standards are set to reduce pathogens, that is disease causing organisms, also don't come along with them, as it will impact the whole country. As it will impact the whole country. Similarly, there is a residue limit for pesticides you can put in foods. Beyond that, you cannot put more than that pesticide in foods. So all that is set. That is, friends, sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Okay. So it's like basically it is a restriction on the quantity that you can put into the agricultural fields, or the quantity that you can import, or what commodities you can import. Restrictions on those items. Sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Okay, so they seek to protect humans from or animals from any kind of diseases that may arise because of the import of a commodity. अगर आप एक commodity मंगाओगे और उससे उस country में disease फैल सकता है, जैसे कोरोना के केस में था, तो उस सिनेरियो में गवर्नमेंट कुछ commodities का इंपोर्ट रेस्ट्रिक्ट कर सकती है, बंद कर सकती है. उसे हम कहते हैं सैनिटरी एंड फाइटोसैनिटरी मेजर्स. जैसे अगर आप लोग कभी, इफ एनी वन ऑफ यू हैव गॉट अ चांस टू ट्रेवल टू अमेरिका और यूके, आई हैव नॉट बीन but my relatives have been, so they told me that you cannot carry pickles there. अचार आप वहां नहीं ले जा सकते because they have some seeds and that might affect the plant quality or the crop quality there, and so they do not let you in with this. बेसिकली पिकल्स, अचार जिसको बोलते हैं, वो आपको नहीं ले जाने देते. यही यहां पर बताने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं सैनिटरी एंड फाइटोसैनिटरी मेजर्स में. Yes, understood. So let's write it down. Sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Sanitary measures. Yes, sir. These are applied. These measures are applied. Write down along with me. You will not get alag se time. These measures are allowed or applied to protect human, animal, plant life from risks arising from, if you add some color or some preservative, from those risks, from risks of additives, from the risk of pests, from the risk of some toxins, or from the risk of some pathogens, that is disease causing organisms. That is, friends, sanitary and phytosanitary measure. Now we will study technical barriers to trade. Now we will study, friends, technical barriers to trade. What are we going to study? Technical barriers to trade. Technical barriers to trade. Technical barriers to trade. So basically what is done here is standards are defined, like the product quality, content are defined. So if your product is not as per that standard, you will not be able to import it. That is what is technical barriers to trade. Basically some specifications are prescribed, and if the product fails to meet those standards and specifications, they are not allowed to be imported. See. It refers to mandatory standards and technical regulations and technical regulations that define the characteristics that define the characteristic a product should have. It refers to mandatory standards and technical regulations that define the characteristics a product should have. What characteristic a product should be having? What characteristics a product should be having? What characteristics a product should be having? Such as what should be the size, what should be the shape, what should be the design, etc. So if you fail to meet those conditions by the government, yes, just like you have FSSAI mark na, food safety, for food safety, these are the basically standards. So if you import something related to food, it should comply with FSSAI guidelines. That is the point I am trying to make. If you fail to meet those points, you will not be allowed to import that particular commodity. I hope it's crystal clear, everybody. उम्मीद है फ्रेंड्स बातचीत क्लियर हो गया है यहाँ पे, यहाँ तक. जस्ट अ सेकेंड. जस्ट अ मिनट. हाँ, ओके. Okay. Shall we proceed, friends? So we will be talking about non-technical measures now. Yes, sir, it's clear to us. Non-technical measures. Sir, what are non-technical measures? Basically, number one is import quota. Sir, what is import quota? Simply speaking, it is a quantity restriction. Simply speaking, it is a quantity restriction. Sir, what is import quota, sir? Sir, simply speaking, it is a quantity restriction. What is import quota? Sir, simply speaking, it is a quantity restriction. It is a quantity restriction. It is of two types. One is absolute quota and one is tariff rate quota. For example, 1,000 tons of fish import can take place in any time during the year. So this is absolute quota, means fixed quantity, and you cannot import beyond that quantity. That is absolute quota. And then there is tariff rate quota. Then there is tariff rate quota. So, sir, what is tariff rate quota? Would you tell us? I have already explained to you that suppose up to 250 tons, you will have to pay no tariff on imports. Beyond 250 to 500 tons, if you import, then you will have to pay, let's say, 10% tariff. So first of all, what is a quota? Quota is a quantity restriction where maximum quantity that can be import is fixed. इंपोर्ट कोटा का मतलब है कि मैक्सिमम क्वांटिटी जो आप इंपोर्ट कर सकते हो वो फिक्स कर दिया जाता है. इंपोर्ट कोटा का मतलब है मैक्सिमम क्वांटिटी जो आप इंपोर्ट कर सकते हो वो फिक्स कर दिया जाता है. उससे ज्यादा आप इंपोर्ट नहीं कर सकते. वो दो तरीके का होता है, एक एब्सोल्यूट कोटा होता है और एक टैरिफ रेट कोटा होता है. एब्सोल्यूट कोटा का मतलब है मैक्सिमम क्वांटिटी फिक्स हो गया। एब्सोल्यूट कोटा का मतलब है मैक्सिमम क्वांटिटी फिक्स हो गया। टैरिफ रेट में क्या होता है, मैक्सिमम क्वांटिटी का लेवल्स होता है कि 0 से 250 के बीच में अगर आप इंपोर्ट करेंगे तो फलाना टैक्स रेट लगेगा, उससे ऊपर आप जाओगे तो ढिमकाना टैक्स रेट लगेगा। ये यहां पर चलता है। सो इन इंपोर्ट कोटा there are two types of quotas, absolute and tariff rate. Absolute is unconditional, बस you can import this much quantity, that's it, बोल दिया बस, full stop, thank you. But in tariff rate quota there are different rates and accordingly tax rates are applied. Is that clear everybody? Then guys, you have something called price control measures. These are also called para tariff measures. What is it called? Para tariff measures. What they do? Basically, they increase the price of product. So they are basically tariff only. We are studying it under non-tariff measure, but this is tariff only. You know, these measures are steps taken to control or influence the price of imported goods in order to support the domestic price of certain goods when the imported price are lower. When the imported price of these goods are lower. When the imported price of these goods are lower. When the imported price of these goods are lower. So if imported price is lower, then this control measures are introduced, wherein a fixed percentage is imposed so that price rises. Basically the goal यहाँ पर होता है कि जो imported commodity है कहीं वो domestic commodity से सस्ता ना मिल जाए, क्योंकि अगर ऐसा होगा तो domestic producers destroyed हो जाएंगे। बात समझ में आया क्या? क्लियर है क्या? क्लियर है क्या? Is that clear, friends? Yes or no? Come on. Next is non-automatic licensing and prohibitions. Non-automatic licensing and prohibitions. So what is this measures? These measures are normally aimed at limiting the quantity of goods that can be imported, regardless of whether they originate from different sources or from one particular supplier. These measures may be taken in the form of non-automatic or complete prohibition. For example, textiles may be allowed only on a discretionary license by the importing country. India prohibits import of arms and related material from or to Iraq. Further, India also prohibits many items falling under 60 exim code. So basically here what may happen is that अगर आपको import करना है, if you want to import, then government wants you to take a license for this. Normally, for essential commodities, you may not need a license. But for some commodities, for certain commodities, government may fix a licensing requirement. That is, you can get that commodity only if you take a license. Only and only if you take a license. This is done because some products are not considered safe or not useful in our country or not morally correct in our country. So in such situations, government may allow its import only under specific permissions given or granted. Is that clear, everybody? Is that clear, everybody? Yes. For example, liquor licensing is also required. You are correct. You can consider it like this now. You have been to cafes. You don't need a license to keep pizza in your cafe. You don't need a license to keep burger in your cafe, but you need a license to keep alcohol in your cafe. Something like that you can relate to. Then there are certain financial measures that can be imposed. At financial measures example, for example, if anybody wants to import, then advance payment has to be made compulsory. Advance payment compulsory. Only then imports will be allowed. So such restrictions can be imposed. may be required to pay a certain percentage of value goods 3 months before the arrival of goods, or foreign exchange may not be permitted for the import of the particular thing. Because if you want to purchase something, you need to pay. You need to pay, you need foreign currency. You need foreign currency, you need to take it in advance. That is what is financial measures. That is what is financial measures. That is what is financial measures. Hopefully it's clear, everybody. Hopefully it's clear, everybody. Next is measures affecting competition. Measures affecting competition. So friends, measures affecting competitions. These measures, friends, these measures are aimed at granting exclusive or specific preferences to only few groups of operators. For example, a statutory marketing board may be granted exclusive right to import wheat, or a canalizing agency may be given monopoly right to distribute palm oil. So basically, only one or two importers are given rights. Means only selected people can import. Only selected people can import. Only selected people are given the import rights, is what we are discussing here. Only selected people are given import rights, is what we are discussing here. Friends, is that crystal clear to all? Yes or no, everybody? Government policies. So suppose government is purchasing. So what government may do is government may give preference to local tenders. That is people from our country rather than the foreign tenders. Government may accept local tenders earlier than the foreign tenders. Trade related investment measure. What happens here? For example, you are manufacturing a car. So government may make it mandatory that certain percentage, 25% of the car should be made in India. Rest can be made from outside, or rest portion required for car can be imported from outside. But 25% products in the car should be Indian. 50% products in the car should be Indian. So that can be done. That is trade related investment measure. Requirement to use certain minimum level of locally made components. Restricting the level of imported components, or for example, imported components can make up only 20% of my car. Rest 80% should be in India. That is what we are talking about. Trade related investment measures. Understood, not understood, friends? Friends, understood, not understood, friends? Is that clear, friends? Yes, sir. Friends, then there is something called distribution restrictions. Distribution restrictions are limitations imposed on the distribution of goods in the importing country, involving additional license or certification requirements. For example, restriction that imported fruits may be sold only through outlets having refrigeration facilities. So you import, आप import कर लीजिए, उसमें कोई नखरा नहीं है, बट import करने के बाद आप importing country में कहां बेच सकेंगे, उस पर नखरा है. That is distribution restriction. So if you import something from foreign, like imported fruits, then only selected places you can sell which have proper refrigeration or cold storage facilities. Restriction on post-sale services, very important. So a rule can be made that the exporter can export to India, but if there is some after-sale services, then after-sale services must be provided by Indian company only. Interesting. This way work will come. For example, I can import AC from USA. Okay, but the condition is that if I need post-sale services for that AC, then that should be performed by somebody in India only. This way, Indian people will get business. AC will come from outside, no issues, but Indian people will get business. That is called restriction on post-sale services. Everybody, that is called restriction on post-sale services. Friends, is that clear, everyone? Yes, sir. Again, then another concept called embargoes. Sir, what is embargo? Complete restriction, complete door closed, khatam baat. An embargo is a total ban on import or export of some of the commodities to a particular country or region for specified period. This is the most extreme form. So if in exam MCQ is asked, most extreme form of trade barrier, remember embargoes. As a matter of fact, write down in the chat, most extreme form of trade barrier is embargo. Write down in the chat, most extreme form of trade barrier is embargo. Write down in the chat box, please. Most extreme form of trade barrier is embargo. 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 Write down in the chat, then only will I proceed. Very good. Friends, yes, I will talk about export related measures also. Don't worry, this chapter is not over. We still have another class for completing this chapter or topic. No problem at all. Right. Let's do 2 or 3 MCQs. Okay. A specific tariff is a tax on set of specified goods. Import tax that is common to all goods imported during a period. A specified fraction of the economic value, or a tax on import defined as the amount of currency per unit of the good. Yes. Amount of currency per unit of the good. Amount of currency per unit of the good is absolutely correct answer. Amount of currency per unit of the good is absolutely a correct answer. Is absolutely a correct answer. Understood, everyone? So 1D is correct. 1D is correct. Tariff on imports is beneficial to domestic producers of the imported goods. Why? Because of, sir, it raises the price for which they can sell their product in the domestic market. Therefore, it is beneficial to domestic producers. A tax applied as a percentage of value is called ad valorem. Is called what? Ad valorem. Escalated tariff. What is escalated tariff? Friends, nominal tariff rates on products are greater than tariff on raw materials. Yes or no? On finished product. Manufactured means on finished products. Tax rate is greater. Steel pipes example I gave you. Fifth one. Voluntary export. See, export we have not done, so I am skipping this for now. For now. Sixth one. What is anti-dumping duty? Additional import duty so as to offset the effects of exporting firms. Correct. Additional so as to offset the increased competitiveness. No. Additional duty so as to offset the effect of exporting firms. Unfair charging of low prices. Yes. Unfair charging of prices. Unfair charging of prices. So both A and C are my answers. Are my answers. So friends, today we wind up the day here. Next day, we are going to talk beyond this. That's it for the day. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody.